In this series, the side deck, I want to cover Yu-Gi-Oh-centric topics that interest me personally. That way you, yes I'm talking about you, get the content that isn't manufactured by Mr. Algorithm and I can express my purest thoughts on the game. Because after all, if it wasn't me actually talking about what I want to talk about, it wouldn't be that genuine now, would it? One idea that I've decided to produce into video form is the art of the cards. No, not the art itself, rather the people behind the awesome designs. The people that don't get the credit they deserve. After all, in Yu-Gi-Oh! There are thousands upon thousands of cards created in seemingly perpetuity. It's like every day a new card's announced. And many of the cards look visually distinct from one another, from Necros to Gusto to Lightsworn to Volcanic, all the colors of the rainbow. Even in the Stone Age, where the art had a more Magic the Gathering, goes to Egypt and gets sent to hell theme, we still had a variety of differences in design. Spirit of the Pharaoh, Injection Fairy Lily, and Moki Moki as art that are way different from one another. A lot of the old card art we can attribute to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Creator, Kazuki Takahashi, rest in peace. Many cards released stemmed from the source material, many I'm sure we're already super familiar with from the anime. Dark Magician, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and Toon World, just to name a few. I could name these forever. Summon Skull, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Dark Magician Girl. Alright, I'll stop. Some were from earlier in the manga, pre-Duelist Kingdom arc, like with Zumbira the Dark and Dark Master Zork, and there were even card games pre-Duelist Kingdom 2, like we saw with Dark Magician and Summon Skull. Takahashi would have a hand in creating a lot of the early designs for the card game itself, but also in shaping future series too, as he was the mind behind creating the big important cards such as the Elemental Heroes, Stardust Dragon, Red Dragon Archfiend, and Utopia! Some of the existing art he wouldn't leave stagnant either, as in the Anniversary Pack and beyond. Certain cards would get alternate art, as we've seen with, but not limited to, Gyaku Tenugami, Janjo, and Dark Magician Girl. I always really liked these designs. This would extend to original art that featured his unique art style, many of which would have yet to see a TCG release. Come on, Konami, give us something! Aunt Karibo, True Exodia, Magi Magician Girl, Shiba Warrior Taro, Palladium Oracle Mana, and Red Eyes Alternative Black Dragon. Yeah, he's really into that alt music for some reason. I don't know what's going on with him. It's not a phase, Mom. It's not a phase. While Takahashi's art has remained nothing short of incredible, it's just so unique. I love it. The art of the cards did not stop with his work. With Yu-Gi-Oh! As a series, there are so many cards from it that can be adapted into the card game. While some would take some time to arrive in playable form like Eye of Illusion or Flying Elephant, the game had to create new cards practically right away. And come on, when's the Living Arrow? I want to fuse that Mammoth Graveyard into Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to rot it from the inside out! This leads me to my next point. In other popular TCGs like Pokemon and Magic, each card will feature a line of text that tells people who did the illustration. Charizard, for example, was drawn by Matsuhiro Arita, and Black Lotus, Christopher Rush. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Has never attempted this aside from the aforementioned Takahashi cards, including his signature on them. This has always, at least to me, maybe different from you, been an unfortunate aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! In no art book or companion piece does Konami ever specify who drew what aside from known Takahashi work. And quite frankly, it's a little sad we may never know who drew up Extra Ceratops. He's so silly looking. For all we know, these were doodles from a sweatshop. Many names go straight to the grave, either due to Konami's internal rulings or Japanese culture. Though this is not to say that we know zero artists that have contributed. We actually know a few, so let's discuss them. And the Janjo Zone is not my full-time job, so any support goes a long way, whether it's commenting on the video, liking or subscribing, sharing the video out to someone who, may enjoy it, or joining my Patreon for as little as $2 a month to get early access to videos and special updates. Let's all help the zone be as big as it can be. Otherwise, I'll be forced to work in the Mystic Mine. Oh no. One artist, Akina Fujiwara, has designed a number of cards, with their most notable being the Trap Tricks, Charmer, and Gishki archetypes. Some of her other designs include Droll and Lockbird, Vanilla, Downer Magician, and Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. She even posts a lot of her art on Twitter, and here's some of her art from Ghost Ogre outside of the card game. Akira Ito is credited for writing and drawing the spin-off manga Yu-Gi-Oh! R. So it's safe to assume that any new cards introduced in the series were designed by Ito. Puppet King, White Horn Dragon, the Wicked Avatar, and Dread Scythe Harvester as a few examples. Naoyuki Kageyama, in similar fashion, is the author of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga. As such, the original creations were that of Kageyama, in which I'm sure you've seen at least one or two of these. Light and Darkness Dragon, Elemental Hero, Absolute Zero, Tragodia, and the Solar System cards. Kageyama has even mentioned in the manga itself that he was saddened to find out that his creations in Light End Dragon and Dark End Dragon were both going to be released as synchro monsters. This sucks for him given that he was a fusion diehard and vowed to never use synchros despite his peers playing these really new, very powerful strategies. We also know that the digital artist Genzo Man, and yes, that's Genzo Man because it's apparently all in caps, is the one responsible for the art behind various archetypes like Cosmo, Subterror, Noble Knights, and War Rocks, which, when you look at his other art, it becomes rather clear. I wouldn't be surprised if more artists outside Japan contribute to TCG exclusive archetypes. In that regard, I would also not be shocked if they had to sign an NDA or something along those lines. Seemingly, Konami would rather keep everything under the Yugioh Takahashi umbrella like it's a Kojima game, which, funnily enough, is another chapter in Konami's books. Maybe they feel that since they own the property, they don't need to credit the artist. We could speculate all day, but we'll probably never know the real reason. But we do know one element that may be of value. Historically speaking, Konami has been they've been a heavily criticized company for their treatment of employees and ex-employees. All this has been documented, but this includes such treatments including the prevention of health insurance, making it tough for former employees to find new employment, and even stopping them from mentioning the work on resumes. Then Konami would go after people legally if they would be interviewed by the media. Whoa. Therefore, many would prefer to simply remain anonymous and avoid the strictness Konami implements. According to a Reddit user who had a discussion with a Japanese artist, they claimed that in their contract, they were forbidden to post their art or mention it anywhere. And when submitting the art, they must prove the art is 100% theirs with every single texture involved. Some people even believe there to be drama with the artist of Elemental Hero Air Neos, and that being the reason the card has never been reprinted. All of this sums it down to, I don't think Konami is going to change their philosophy anytime soon. At the end of the day, it is unfortunate as Konami is trying to add more and more to a card to avoid crediting an artist. That's a joke, but you get what I mean. So many cards, yet so little credits lead to many asking the same question over and over and over again. Consider that we only know like 5 artists and 3 of them were authors of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. So unless the company goes under at some point and artists feel like crawling out of their respective caves, we'll never know the extent of who believed in the art of the cards that gave us some of our favorite pieces of art there is. Cards like Horus the Black Flame Dragon, The Creator, Ronin Toden, and Kikanagashi Fucko. Fucking bird.